Nestled within the mysterious contours of the Korean peninsula lies a land that has long captivated the imagination of the world, a place where the cost of living is surprisingly low, yet remains inaccessible to most travelers. Here, vast stretches of deserted streets extend endlessly into the horizon, creating an almost surreal landscape. Amidst this quiet, orderly environment, traffic is carefully managed by elegantly dressed traffic controllers who move with a grace that borders on theatrical performance, their movements precise and deliberate, embodying the country's unique blend of tradition and discipline. This country is deeply rooted in ancient customs and traditions, which are vividly reflected in its architecture, traditional clothing, and daily routines. Yet, behind the outward appearance of cultural preservation and meticulous order, lies a society governed by some of the strictest and most unusual laws on the planet. It is a society where control is pervasive, where every aspect of life is carefully monitored and regulated to maintain a particular vision of order and loyalty. This is North Korea, a nation that invites curiosity and caution in equal measure. Join us as we peel back the layers of this enigmatic country to glimpse what life truly looks like behind closed doors. Today, our journey takes us inside one of the world's most secretive and isolated nations, revealing the realities of daily existence within its borders. This is not just a travel documentary. It is an exploration of a society that stands apart from the rest of the world in terms of its history, politics, and culture. Located on the Korean peninsula, sharing borders with its prosperous neighbor South Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, more commonly known as North Korea, remains one of the most closed-off countries in the entire world. Its territory covers approximately 46,500 square miles, roughly comparable in size to the state of Mississippi. Despite its proximity to the sea, more than 150 miles of coastline along both the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan, the country remains largely disconnected from the global digital landscape. Concepts familiar to most people elsewhere, such as Google, iPhones, or Starbucks, are virtually non-existent here. The country's internet infrastructure is heavily restricted, and most online activity is either censored or inaccessible to the ordinary citizen. The climate in North Korea is harsh and unforgiving. Winters can be brutally cold, with temperatures plunging well below -30 degrees Celsius, transforming the landscape into a winter wonderland of snow and ice. These snowy winters, while beautiful, pose significant challenges to agriculture and transportation, complicating daily life and economic activity. Summers, on the other hand, are hot and humid, reminiscent of Florida, making outdoor work and travel uncomfortable. Power outages are a common occurrence throughout the country, further complicating everyday routines and adding to the sense of isolation that pervades this land. Consequently, life here can feel starkly different from the bright, bustling metropolises of New York or London, where energy and connectivity are constant. Out of the approximately 26 million residents, the majority live in the capital city of Pyongyang, a city renowned for its strict organization and meticulous planning. Unlike most cities around the world, living in Pyongyang is not a matter of personal choice. Unlike other nations where individuals can buy or rent homes freely, in North Korea, only those selected by the state based on their loyalty, achievements, and family background are permitted to reside in the city. This policy makes Pyongyang one of the most carefully curated and exclusive settlements on the planet. Every resident is an ethnic Korean, and they speak the Korean language. However, the language spoken here has evolved separately from South Korean dialects for more than 70 years. This divergence has led to noticeable differences in vocabulary and pronunciation, often making their speech seem foreign or unfamiliar to modern South Koreans. Despite their differences, North Korea considers the entire Korean peninsula as one unified nation. When you observe the world map, you see two separate countries, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the north and the Republic of Korea in the south. However, within North Korea itself, the concept of a single Korea remains a core part of national identity. Every school's map, every official document, depicts Korea as one united nation, with the capital, Pyongyang, standing as the heart of this unity. While hopes for reunification persist among some segments of both populations, turning this aspiration into reality remains an enormous challenge due to political, military, and ideological barriers. Most of the world's understanding of North Korea comes filtered through state-controlled media and limited foreign reports, which often portray a heavily curated version of reality. To truly comprehend this mysterious country, however, one must visit in person, where the passage of time, deeply rooted traditions, and official ideology intertwine in a way that is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Here, time seems to follow its own rules, measured not by the ticking of clocks but by the rhythms dictated by the state's doctrines and rituals. This makes North Korea a place of stark contrasts, where ancient customs coexist with modern control, and where the fabric of everyday life is woven together by a complex tapestry of history, ideology. If you ever find yourself in North Korea, you will quickly realize that the year Div Taisachi Devadkat Pat is conspicuously absent from all references around you. Instead, the entire country operates on its own unique calendar system known as the Juche calendar, a system that exists solely within North Korea's borders. This calendar begins counting from the birth year of Kim Il-sung, the founding leader of the nation, meaning that very soon, North Korea will be celebrating what they call the year 114, not according to the familiar Gregorian calendar that the rest of the world uses, but from the moment of Kim Il-sung's birth. To outsiders accustomed to the standard international calendar, this approach can evoke a strange sensation, as if North Korea exists on a completely different planet, governed by its own time and rhythm. Most visitors arriving in North Korea typically land at Sunan International Airport, and from the moment they step off the plane, their journey tends to lead directly to the heart of the country, the capital city, Pyongyang. This city immediately presents an atmosphere unlike any other metropolis in the world. Pyongyang radiates a calm, almost serene sense of order and beauty. Its skyline is dotted with tall, densely packed buildings that give the city a modern appearance. However, unlike the chaotic energy of places like New York or Tokyo, Pyongyang maintains a measured, organized aura that reflects the country's emphasis on discipline and control. Throughout the city, hundreds of residential towers rise between 25 and 35 stories, forming a distinctive skyline. Interestingly, many of these high-rise apartment blocks are not equipped with elevators. This means that residents often have to climb numerous flights of stairs daily, whether they are returning home from work or heading out to catch a bus. Living on the 30th floor, for example, can be a physical challenge, requiring residents to ascend and descend many stairs every day. Such circumstances can significantly improve one's physical fitness, or, conversely, make everyday life exhausting if one is not physically prepared. Private cars are a rare sight on the streets of Pyongyang. Most citizens travel around the city using public transportation such as the subway, double-decker buses, trams, and taxis. During peak hours, specifically from 3:30 in the morning until 9 in the morning, and again from 5 in the evening until 9 at night, the public transport system becomes quite crowded. Yet, despite the high volume of passengers, the city's streets remain remarkably calm and orderly. Unlike the notorious traffic jams of Los Angeles or London, the traffic in Pyongyang flows smoothly, with a disciplined and composed atmosphere that is striking to any visitor. One detail that immediately draws attention is the absence of motorcycles on the streets. While bustling cities like Bangkok or Hanoi are filled with two-wheelers weaving through traffic, in Pyongyang, you will not see a single motorcycle anywhere. The most impressive feature of the city's underground infrastructure is its subway system, which holds the record for being the deepest in the world, reaching an astonishing 110 meters below ground level. This underground network was constructed as a bomb shelter, reinforced with steel doors designed to withstand attacks. Traveling down to the platform on the longest escalator in the world takes approximately 3.5 minutes. Once underground, the temperature is maintained at a comfortable 18 degrees Celsius throughout the year, providing a safe and cool refuge from the outside world. Street food stalls are a rare sight in Pyongyang, but on occasion, you might notice tidy kiosks where schoolchildren, dressed in neat uniforms and red ties, queue up to buy frozen foods and candies. While the internet access available here is limited, members of the armed forces often look at their phones just as people do everywhere else, though their screens display only government-approved websites. On the streets, women stand out with their variety of modern hairstyles. They are dressed in elegant, brightly colored outfits, often adorned with badges bearing images of cinema icons or patriotic symbols pinned to their chests. These women typically wear high-heeled shoes and light makeup, presenting a polished appearance. A curious and notable aspect of North Korean society is that all citizens are required to wear these badges, which display images of revered leaders or cultural figures. However, it is crucial for foreign visitors to understand that under no circumstances should they wear such badges. Doing so can be considered a serious offense, even a reason for imprisonment. While North Korean women do not follow Western fashion trends, they often radiate a sense of refined beauty, with clear, bright skin, lively eyes, shiny black hair, and gentle smiles that convey warmth and grace despite the strict environment they live in. In North Korea, whether they are strolling along Kim Il-sung Avenue, traversing the expansive open squares, or venturing deep into the underground subway tunnels, groups of women move with a quiet grace that is both deliberate and composed. Their voices are soft, often muffled when they laugh, as if mindful of their surroundings or perhaps of the tradition of restraint that pervades their society. Even in public, these women carry themselves with a rare elegance, maintaining a posture that is upright and confident, yet understated. Unlike the hurried, often frantic pace seen in cities like New York or Paris, their movements are calm, measured, and purposeful. There is no unnecessary fuss. Instead, their demeanor exudes dignity and self-assurance, embodying a quiet strength that is distinctly characteristic of their culture. One of the most recognizable and iconic sights in Pyongyang is the female traffic controller. Unlike in many other countries, where traffic officers are selected primarily for their physical fitness and agility, North Korea's criteria for these women are quite specific and somewhat unusual. The selection process emphasizes three qualities: height, eyesight, and beauty. The women chosen for this role are invariably young, tall, and strikingly attractive, dressed in crisp blue and white uniforms that are meticulously neat. They wear well-pressed caps and stand confidently at major intersections, managing the flow of traffic with a poised and graceful demeanor. Despite the relatively sparse traffic, a fact that might seem surprising given the size of the city, these women stand upright and proud, their presence serving as a symbol of Pyongyang's disciplined order. Their calm authority and composed stance make them a visual anchor in the city's streetscape, embodying both functionality and aesthetic appeal. Looking more closely at the streets of North Korea reveals another noteworthy trait among its young people: the prevalence of military uniforms. This is not an incidental sight but a deeply ingrained aspect of daily life throughout the country. It is commonplace to see young men and women dressed in military attire, and this phenomenon holds significant cultural and societal importance. Almost every male over the age of 18 is required to serve in the military for up to 10 years, while women are expected to serve until they reach at least 23. Military service in North Korea is not merely a duty. It is a fundamental element woven into the fabric of everyday existence, shaping the discipline, outlook, and behavior of its citizens. Unlike South Korea, where military service lasts from 18 to 21 months, North Korea's armed forces are enormous, with more than 1 million active soldiers and an additional 6 million members of paramilitary groups. This substantial military presence makes North Korea's army one of the largest in the world, with approximately every fourth resident connected to military or paramilitary service. This vast military force largely explains the scarcity of cars on North Korea's streets. Despite a population exceeding 25 million, the country's roads are remarkably uncluttered. There are only about 30,000 active vehicles, making North Korea one of the nations with the lowest car density on the planet. Ownership of personal vehicles is restricted primarily to government officials and military personnel, while the general population relies heavily on public transportation such as the metro, buses, and bicycles. Nonetheless, glimpses of luxury models like Mercedes-Benz and Toyota occasionally appear on the streets of Pyongyang. Although official dealerships for these brands do not exist within North Korea, Mercedes-Benz, in particular, enjoys a special popularity among high-ranking officials. Furthermore, the streets are dotted with older vehicles, such as 70s Volvo Stow-Sorik C-Tyre models, cars that were once purchased but never fully paid for, their presence a silent testament to the country's complex relationship with foreign imports. Interestingly, North Korea is not entirely dependent on foreign cars. Over time, it has begun to produce its own vehicle models inspired by the designs of well-known international brands like Volkswagen and Mercedes. These domestically manufactured vehicles are primarily intended for military use and government officials. However, due to the country's economic isolation, these domestically produced cars remain largely unknown beyond North Korean borders. When it comes to their top leadership, the automobile choices are far more luxurious and varied, reflecting their ranks and status. High-ranking officials are granted the freedom to choose from an array of prestigious vehicles, including models such as the Audi R8, Rolls-Royce, and Range Rover. Despite the challenges associated with importing foreign cars, rumors circulate that Kim Jong-un, the country's supreme leader, maintains a rare and carefully curated collection of automobiles, further emphasizing the importance placed on mobility and status among North Korea's elite. North Korea remains an active and functioning nation, despite its reputation for isolation and strict control. It operates under a centrally planned economy, a system that is increasingly rare in today's world, with the government overseeing every aspect of economic activity. In this unique economic structure, the state assumes full responsibility for the production of goods, the distribution channels, and the consumption processes. Unlike in many Western countries where individuals can effortlessly order products online, such as on Amazon, and expect swift delivery, in North Korea, the distribution of goods is meticulously regulated according to a centralized plan devised by the government. For many residents, even items that are considered everyday luxuries elsewhere, like a simple can of Coca-Cola, are viewed as rare and expensive commodities. Nevertheless, the government ensures that certain fundamental services, namely housing, healthcare, and education, are provided free of charge to all citizens, reflecting a social policy aimed at ensuring basic needs are met without direct payment from individuals. Utilities, including heating, electricity, and gas, are also covered by the state, which means that most salaries are primarily allocated toward purchasing food and clothing rather than paying bills. An intriguing aspect of North Korea's economic system is that it is among the very few countries worldwide that does not impose an income tax on its citizens, a feature that influences the overall cost of living and economic behavior in the country. This absence of income tax significantly impacts how residents manage their finances and affects the overall cost of living in North Korea. Life here unfolds within a distinctive economic environment that starkly contrasts with the Western experience. The average monthly cost of living is estimated to be around $1,597, which is roughly 32% lower than the cost in the United States. Housing expenses are notably more affordable, with the average rent for a furnished apartment in a typical neighborhood costing approximately 900,000 North Korean won per month. Due to restrictions and currency exchange controls, it is challenging to accurately convert these figures into US dollars, but this rent remains significantly cheaper than comparable costs in the West. Utilities for a two-person household living in an 85 square meter apartment, covering heating, electricity, and gas, are estimated at about 120,000 won per month. Food prices are also comparatively lower, approximately 26.4% less expensive than in the United States, although precise cost details for specific products are limited due to the country's closed economy. Public transportation is the main mode of travel for most North Koreans, and it operates at costs far below Western standards, making mobility more accessible and affordable. However, other expenses, such as gym memberships or dental procedures, are difficult to estimate accurately because of the country's limited commercial sector and the scarcity of detailed pricing data. All these factors contribute to a lower overall cost of living, but the lack of comprehensive financial data and the closed nature of North Korea's economy make precise comparisons challenging. Given these conditions, one might wonder whether living in such a unique environment would appeal to them. If you think yes, press 1. If no, press 0. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. In the capital city of Pyongyang, visitors can witness a collection of monumental structures of global significance that symbolize the country's ambitions and cultural pride. Among these is the May 1st Runda Stadium, renowned as the largest stadium in the world, capable of hosting up to 150,000 spectators. Constructed in 1980, This grand arena is not only used for football matches but also serves as the venue for the famous Mass Games, a spectacular event involving tens of thousands of performers synchronized in a mesmerizing display of unity and strength, representing the collective spirit of the nation. Another iconic landmark is the Gyeon Hotel, one of the most distinctive and unusual skyscrapers globally. Designed in the shape of a pyramid, this towering structure rises to 105 stories and was once considered the tallest hotel on Earth for many decades. The original plan envisioned over 7,600 rooms and a revolving restaurant at the very top, offering panoramic views. Although the building is not yet fully operational, it remains a symbol of North Korea's ambitious architectural vision and technological aspirations. Nearby, along the banks of the Taedong River, lies Kim Il-sung Square, the largest square in North Korea and one of the largest in the world, covering an area of approximately 75,000 square meters. This vast open space serves as a focal point for national celebrations, military parades, and public gatherings, reflecting the grandeur and national pride of the country. North Korea's capital city, Pyongyang, is a place that can truly hold a crowd of up to 100,000 people, serving as the central hub for national parades and grand state ceremonies. On special occasions, this bustling metropolis transforms into a stage for displays of patriotism and national pride, with the main square becoming a focal point for large-scale events that showcase the country's unity and strength. Just across from this expansive square stands the Juche Tower, an imposing monument that stands as a towering symbol of North Korea's guiding ideology. Its presence dominates the skyline and has become one of the most recognizable landmarks in the city, embodying the nation's political philosophy and serving as a constant reminder of its core principles. As twilight descends and night begins to settle over Pyongyang, the city takes on an almost mystical, ethereal quality. The wide streets, normally bustling with activity, are dimly lit by sparse streetlights, casting scattered patches of soft light and shadows that dance across the pavement. Life continues its steady rhythm, yet there is an unusual sense of tranquility in the air, an atmosphere that is quite rare among the world's major capitals, which are often filled with noise and chaos. The tall buildings, many of which are modern and soaring, consume only a minimal amount of electricity, and only a handful of their windows are illuminated. This creates a scene that is both nostalgic and quietly surreal, evoking a sense of calm and introspection that is unlike the typical urban night. Throughout the evening, grand performances punctuate the quiet, each imbued with a deep sense of national pride. These spectacles are some of the most distinctive and memorable celebrations in the world, especially on the Day of the Sun, celebrated every April 15th to honor the birthday of Kim Il-sung. This holiday is far more than a simple day off. It is a massive, nationwide celebration marked by military parades, dazzling fireworks displays, and some of the largest synchronized performances on Earth. Tens of thousands of performers, dancers, athletes, and artists come together to create a spectacle of unity and strength. Among these, the Arirang Games stand out for their scale and grandeur. Recognized by the Guinness World Records as the largest group performance ever staged, these events involve over 100,000 participants. One of their most breathtaking features is the Living Mosaics, where tens of thousands of students and performers form gigantic, dynamic images on the stadium floor, transforming the entire arena into a vast, animated canvas that seems to come alive with color and movement. In addition to these grand national holidays, North Korea celebrates traditional cultural festivals such as the Lunar New Year and the Lantern Festival. During these special days, hundreds of glowing lanterns are released into the night sky, creating a scene that is both rare and breathtakingly picturesque. The sight of countless lanterns drifting upward, illuminating the darkness, offers a fleeting moment of enchantment and serenity that visitors often find unforgettable. When it comes to cuisine, North Korea's culinary offerings are sure to leave a lasting impression. The flavors are carefully balanced, blending spicy, salty, sour, and sweet elements into harmonious combinations that make each dish memorable. Many visitors are already familiar with kimchi, the world-famous fermented vegetable dish, yet in North Korea, there are hundreds of regional varieties, each with its own unique twist. For tourists, one of the must-try dishes is NMN, also known as Pyongyang-style cold noodles, which dates back to the Joseon dynasty. served chilled in a savory beef broth. These noodles are accompanied by slices of beef, cucumber, and a boiled egg. Unlike the heavier Japanese ramen or Italian pasta, NMN offers a light, refreshing taste with an elastic, satisfying texture derived from buckwheat noodles. Another source of national pride is NMN beer, considered among the finest in East Asia. Brewed using modern British technologies, this beer boasts a rich flavor profile that rivals many European craft beers, making it a favorite among locals and visitors alike. When paired with bulgogi, a juicy North Korean dish of fried, marinated meat, these culinary delights form a hearty and flavorful combination that is among the most satisfying and delicious in the country. However, to truly enjoy North Korea's rich gastronomic culture, travelers should be aware of a few important rules. Notably, tourists are not permitted to use the local currency for transactions. While in most countries visitors can pay with their own national currency, in North Korea, foreigners are required to conduct transactions using euros, US dollars, or Chinese yuan. This regulation is part of the country's strict economic policies and serves to control foreign exchange and maintain the state's currency system. In essence, North Korea's capital offers a unique blend of monumental history, cultural grandeur, and captivating traditions, all set in a city that quietly transforms from a bustling hub during the day into a serene and mystical landscape at night. Its impressive celebrations, cultural festivals, and distinctive cuisine combine to create an experience that is both deeply rooted in tradition and uniquely modern, leaving visitors with vivid when planning a visit to North Korea. It's essential to understand that the local currency of choice is the euro, as it is generally preferred for transactions. However, one must be acutely aware that exporting the North Korean won or any local currency beyond the country's borders is strictly forbidden by law. This regulation is enforced with great seriousness, so attempting to do so could lead to serious legal repercussions. Furthermore, visitors should not be taken aback if they notice that the local residents often seem distant, reserved, or even deliberately avoid engaging in conversation. It's important to realize that such behavior is not driven by any ill will or hostility. Rather, it stems from the fact that interactions with foreigners in North Korea are considered highly sensitive and potentially risky. Although there are no official laws explicitly forbidding citizens from speaking to tourists, the pervasive atmosphere of strict government oversight compels most locals to exercise extreme caution. If a tourist tries to initiate a conversation or to take a photograph of a local person, the individual in question might simply walk away or avoid eye contact altogether, in an effort to protect themselves from possible trouble. Another crucial aspect to keep in mind is the strict regulation surrounding photography. Tourists are not permitted to photograph any subject at will. When accompanying visitors, guides are always present and have the authority to prohibit photography if they deem the subject sensitive or inappropriate. Commonly restricted subjects include old bridges, unfinished construction sites, or queues at stores. Any imagery related to military themes is categorically off limits as well. Specifically, when photographing portraits or statues of North Korea's revered leaders, such as Kim Jong-il or Kim Il-sung, there are strict rules to follow. It is required to capture the entire figure in the frame, without cropping, and photographing from behind these statues is considered highly disrespectful. According to available data, North Korea is home to approximately 34,000 statues of Kim Il-sung, which are strategically placed throughout the country, roughly one for every 3.5 kilometers, making it clear that your camera will not be welcomed everywhere, just as in many other countries around the world. Given all these restrictions and sensitivities, you might find yourself contemplating whether a visit to North Korea is worth the effort, or even consider retiring there someday to uncover its many secrets and mysteries. However, before you can embark on such an adventure, there are essential preparations to be made. You will need to gather the necessary documents and apply for a visa well in advance. Entry into North Korea is only possible through two countries, Russia and China. These are the only nations that officially issue visas for travelers wishing to visit North Korea. Traveling from China is feasible via several cities, but the most expedient route from Beijing is through Russia, with Vladivostok being the only border crossing point. For those who enjoy scenic journeys, taking a train from Beijing to Vladivostok offers a memorable experience, though it requires patience and planning. The visa application process demands careful attention, especially for travelers from certain countries like the United States. Since 2017, U.S. citizens have faced extremely tight restrictions. The U.S. State Department has imposed a travel ban to North Korea, rendering U.S. passports invalid for such visits unless special, rarely granted permission is obtained. In contrast, European travelers generally find it easier to secure a visa, but the process remains strictly controlled and highly regulated. Independent travel, meaning traveling without an organized tour, is strictly prohibited. All tourists must join an officially sanctioned group tour arranged through an authorized agency. The standard documentation required includes a completed application form, a recent photograph, and a copy of your passport. Because processing times can vary, it is wise to submit your application at least 6 weeks before your planned departure date to ensure everything is in order. It's also important to note that North Korea does not issue visas for long-term stays or retirement. Most visas granted are short-term, intended solely for tourism or official business purposes. Given the intense government oversight, anyone planning a trip should stay well informed by consulting the latest official updates and diplomatic notices, as regulations and entry requirements can change unexpectedly. In closing, while the idea of exploring North Korea's enigmatic landscape may be intriguing and even alluring, it requires meticulous planning and a respectful understanding of the country's strict rules. I hope you found this overview informative and helpful for your potential journey into this fascinating, yet highly controlled, part of the world. If you found this content engaging and informative, please remember to give it a thumbs up to show your appreciation. While subscribing to the channel ensures that you won't miss out on our latest videos, allowing you to stay updated with all our exciting new releases. Your support plays a vital role in enabling us to continue producing even more captivating and high-quality content that we hope will inspire and entertain you. Be sure to check out the next video that will appear on your screen shortly. I am confident you will find it just as interesting and enjoyable. We also encourage you to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts or suggesting which country you would love us to explore in future videos. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next video.